For those of you who don't know me, my name is Anthony Stirk and I'm the person behind the online shop, the HAB Supplies. I'm just going to do, it's going to be very quick, I'm just going to give you an overview of a couple of new products that you may or may not be aware of. I know a lot of you are aware of this one. The U-Blocks chips, the Max 6 and the 6 series modules are now end of life. They've been replaced by the Max 7 series. This goes up to the Neo and the LEA ones as well if you're using those. There's not much difference, they're all pin for pin compatible. If you have a board that already uses them, you can literally just drop it in there and it will work. They have a number of features. There's a number of features they have improvements over the 6 series. They use a lot less power. At 3.3 volts, it's way less, it's about a third the power. Two variants I'm selling. There is a third variant, but I can't quite work out what it's for. It's the Max 7W, and it looks like a Max 7Q for all intents and purposes. The 7C runs down to 1.8 volts, but it doesn't have a temperature compensated crystal oscillator in it. Doesn't mean the lock times are slightly slower, but for our application it's not really a big deal. The 7Q does have a temperature compensated crystal oscillator, so you're going to get the fastest lock times. So if you are using it for anything that, like maybe going to sleep and powering on, that sort of thing, and you want a very quick lock afterwards, maybe that's the one you should be using. They're all in stock now, by the way, if anyone wants to buy them. This one is quite major news. One of the few components that's been around since day dot in HABing was the NTX2, which James was talking about earlier on. Radiometrics have actually updated it. There's a new version out called the NTX2B. Can now get it on other frequencies other than 7.5 and 650. 650 being the obvious one because it annoys the hams because it's on their input frequencies. I won't be stocking anything above, I think it's 575. I'm bored of the arguments about it, I'll be honest with you. We've had no choice in the past, but we have a choice now, so I'll probably be stocking them from 100 up to about 575, which gives people lots of range. The slight problem with this is they are actually only factory programmable at the moment. I am talking with Radiometrics about this. They may be giving me the ability to actually program them before I actually ship them out. At the moment you can't switch the frequency of these things through your controller at the moment, but I'm in discussion with them about it. That's the biggie. One of the small problems with the original NTX2s, which meant you couldn't really use it for anything other than RTTY, was it drifted under temperature. It didn't drift massively, it was something that could be compensated in the software we use, but now they fitted it with TCXO, which means it's rock solid. Dave at the back there, he launched 2. Those were both NTX2Bs, weren't they, on there? Yeah. Yeah, 2 on 2.5. Yeah, they didn't drift at all. In fact, when we actually drove up to where the payload was, his station at home had just tuned it, stayed on frequency on them all the way down. So they're a great module. I don't have prices on them yet, but given they literally, you can plug them in and they just replace what's the original NTX2. If you have a circuit that works for an NTX2, you can take one of these, just drop it in and it'll still work. There'll be no difference in the operation at all. So I'm not, I'll be surprised if the prices are any different. That's basically what it looks like, exactly the same. The only slight difference, if you are familiar with these, I've got some you can have a look at later on here. They come in the HX1 style case, which is slightly shallower. So if your circuit board sticks components under the NTX2, because it used to have a massive gap, I probably would suggest you don't do that anymore, because they're coming in, there's not much, you could probably fit a small resistor under there, but that's about it. The other thing which is possibly of interest is the one next to it. That's an MTX2. That's a prototype which they've let me have to play with. I don't think it's anything more complex than one board that's basically snapped in half and mezzanine on top of each other. Again, it's exactly the same. However, that one may have a firmware that lets you soft program it, but they're not available yet, and they're also not very breadboard friendly. Obviously, the NTX2B you can just stick in a breadboard, and it's nice and flexible.
Worth saying the other advantage of the NTX2B is that you'll be able to do more with it.
Yes.
Because it's
yes. Good point. Yeah.
Temperature compensated
Yeah, sorry, missed that one, didn't I? Yeah, good point. I say one of the, I was alluding to that sort of, and I forgot. Obviously, because it drifted, we could only use RTTY. Now you can actually step the frequency very finely, so you can actually get the frequency steps you need for other modes like Domino EX, which obviously with Leo's flights we've seen probably more suitable for what we do. It seems to work better in noisier conditions. I have a theory that in 6 months most people will be flying Domino EX rather than RTTY. Prove me wrong if you want, but I think as we've got these are coming out, I think that's what's going to happen.
Have you checked them for narrowing? Have you checked them for narrowing?
No. We're going to have to do a few test flights basically. The only ones we've launched have done RTTY.
I've noticed slight narrowing with the MMT too.
Yeah, it's we've basically got I think there's about 4 of them floating around. Dave's got 2 of them. He's like Raspberry Pis, he's hogging them all. Sarantel, that sums it up. Unfortunately, Sarantel, which is the other antenna that's product that's been around from day dot, great antennas for GPS modules. Unfortunately, they've gone bust. Can't get any more. So if you are designing printed circuit boards with Sarantel antennas on, there will be no more at the moment. I'm sure at some point somebody will buy the IP for it and start remaking them. But at the moment there's nothing on the market. It's a bit of a shame really, because the passive antennas, but they actually actively reject interference because of the design, and they do work almost in a 360 thing. You've got a couple of alternatives. They're all patches basically, patch antennas. I'm open to suggesting if anybody knows any other antennas that are suitable, I'm going to have a chat with you later on. Tail glass, quite well known, make a lot of ceramic antennas. Alpha Micro, who I actually get the GPS modules off, they do their own sort of brand ceramic square antennas. And then there's the ceramic chip antenna, which I know quite a lot of people have been using. There's quite a few, it's been reasonably successful. Been testing a few of these. That's a 10mm tail glass active, and then you've got the 2 next to there, which are the Alpha Micro ones. The one that actually seemed to give the best performance was actually the passive Alpha Micro one. But as most people are aware of these, its size matters on these. The bigger the better. They do work upside down, but they're not as good as a Sarantel. So if your payload does land upside down, you do still get a lock, but it's nothing like as good as the Sarantel. It takes about 5 minutes to get a lock upside down. If you turn it the right way up, it's about 30 seconds. So it does make a difference. Then there's the chip antenna. I was looking for some alternatives on these, because the other thing the Max 7 chips do is they actually do GLONASS as well, which is the Russian GPS network. I don't know if anybody's going to be using it, but I kind of thought, well, we might as well see if we can get an antenna that does both. I know some of you are familiar with the chip antenna. I got some samples, and they're not quite as small as I was expecting. I have actually got some of these. They come in a little pill case, which is if you want. But yeah, they're not quite what I was expecting. Certainly not Pico. The one thing about these is they mount horizontally rather than vertically like the existing chip antenna. But it's not going to make much difference to the size of the board because they're so big. Again, if anybody's interested in looking at that, I've got some samples of it. Then finally, I think on to HAB, which, sorry about the name, everybody, can I apologise in advance. All marketing. This is a bit of a... Some people are going to hate me for releasing this, and people are going to hate me for not releasing it sooner. We've been having a bit of a chat about this. At some point, somebody's going to release a 70cm tracker, which you can literally just chuck in a box and go, which potentially could cause problems if it's done by somebody who isn't part of the UKHAS or doesn't pass on the relevant safety information. So basically, I've made an open source tracker, which is you can go get the hardware designs for this, you can get the software for it. It's a shield that fits on top of just a normal Arduino. You got your normal Arduino, whatever it is, Dumelino or whatever it is, in the Leo or the other one, and it just plugs on like that. And you've got a tracker, which I'm hoping people will take and use and develop and improve. and use it as a learning base, because I know some people do struggle with the soldering of the the components. I'm not trying to. I know traditionally there's been an entry requirement into HAB, which is making your own tracker. But I can see a point where people are just going to do it anyway. And we already know of some people launching APRS transmitters from America in the UK, which is not allowed. And also you've got people doing GSM launches, which I don't know, about 50% hit rate, you'll get it back with a GSM. I know. I'm mainly aiming that at schools. By the way, this is mainly for like education, schools where they don't want to go, they haven't got the knowledge or the experience to make themselves a tracker. It's basically nice and easy. It's got its own step-up regulator on it, because the regulator on the Arduino is not very good. So you can actually just run the whole thing off a pair of AAs for 24 hours, like that. And it should be nice and easy. It just blinks at you and tells you when it's ready to go. When it goes green, you can launch it. I don't recommend you launch it with a stub antenna, that's just for testing. I say similar to the tracking we know. There's absolutely no similarity between hardware design or code. Most of the code's based on the one I did that launched the Trans-European one I did with the APRS on it, which means it's mostly Phil's code up at the back. It will actually do RTTY and APRS simultaneously. You can actually, I'm not selling them like this because of various reasons, but mainly because you need a license, but you can fit an APRS module on the bottom of it, and a suitable aerial, and that will do APRS and RTTY. It's all interrupt driven, so it'll do it at the same time. You can go get the code. It's my code, so use it at your own risk. So I really want people to improve this, please. There's the website, and I've got a Twitter feed as well, which I just use for announcements. And that's it. You can have a look at all this later on if you want in the discussion.
Do you want to put it under the camera?
Can do, yeah. You've got, there you go. Yeah. So if you want to have a look at that later on, I'll just have a poke around with it. I haven't quite priced it up yet because I'd rather get the all the documentation, and I want to make sure when people buy these they're getting the right information, the right how to launch safely and all. And I haven't done that yet. So at the moment it's not on sale. So, but it will be shortly. It just runs off an active antenna as well for the GPS. So, any questions?
Why did you do it as a shield and not just stick the AVR on there?
Two reasons. One, because if you stick the AVR on there, it's going to be a lot more soldering for me because I'm doing these by hand. Two, because I wanted to try and at least keep it slightly hobbyist. I still wouldn't want to go out and sell a totally working tracker that you just plug in and it does it. Somebody has to at least do something with this, yeah, to actually make it work. And also because it's open source and everything, everybody can just go and do what they want and improve it. It only comes with a temperature sensor on it, so if you want to add anything else, there's one of these has been launched in Spain and it worked fine. And the chap actually immediately took it and recoded it and put pressure sensors and temperature sensors. So I was quite chuffed with that because at least somebody's taking it and using it as a base to improve on. So. Yeah. I'll say you can have a look at it later on and have a poke around it.
What's the interface for the sensors?
That's just a DS18B20, so one way on that. All the pins are actually broken out, so if it runs on Arduino, it actually down there you've got all the normal Arduino pins, and you've got the SCL pins, but you've got to remember it's 5 volts, not 3.3. So whatever you plug into it, you're going to have to use level converters or something. There's an integral level converter on the GPS, which means you don't have to unplug it to program the Arduino, which has been so the GPS is on hardware serial, which has traditionally been a bit of an issue on people using Arduinos. If you don't pull up the level converter, the GPS is disconnected, so you can program it without unplugging the shield.
What are you going to do after that?
Just smile. Yes, it's slightly, but mainly that's educational only, really, I suspect. But it depends, really, doesn't it? I mean, we are in talks about it. We being Dave and I. No fixed plans yet. But it's going to come. Somebody's going to do it. So, hi, Dave.
You said about the stubby antenna, but they're variable. Some
Yes.
quite good.
Yeah, the stubby antennas. I mean, I've got because I'm so far away from a lot of the launches. I can see quite clearly the difference in signal strength between a normal antenna and a quarter wave wire one. By the way, I'm selling these with a kit that lets you make a quarter wave antenna. That you can't ship a quarter wave antenna because they're just a nightmare. They'll just fall apart. So the quarter wave antennas are better. End of story. Yeah. These stubby antennas, not that one because it's a 90-degree one, but if you mount them vertically, I'd say you're good for. You're going to lose 50, 75 miles reception at its extremes with it. That's pretty much it. And I would imagine you're going to negate that if you're using something like Domino AX. It works better on a lower signal.
In my experience, I tried three, I think two of the same model from Farnham.
Yeah.
One was at the base special. I just tested with a signal strength meter.
Mm.
And the best one of the Farnham, was almost as good as a pulse wave.
Yeah.
The other two, I basically had to put the air on the receiver, touch it, fix it up. Which is not good.
I would say at this moment in time you probably use them at your own.
I say if you try it, if
Yeah.
you want to run them, test the strength first and right down the road or something.
Were those all the same, actually?
Two of them were from Farnham.
Yeah, they were the LPRS, were low power radio solutions ones, which are. Yeah. And it's difficult because, unless you've got like an RF meter, it may appear to work on the ground absolutely fine and it'll get 50 metres away and you'll lose it, which is quite frustrating. Best advice I can give you is run a quarter wave antenna, make one. They're not difficult. It's just a bit of wire and a soldering iron. I know that somebody who has no experience in soldering at all made one the other day, and it's better than I would use one of those over a stubby. Yes, Dave.
Are you supplying them with SMA plugs?
Say again, sorry?
Are you supplying that with an SMA plug?
Yeah, I'm basically, as part of the kit, you get a battery pack, you get the active antenna, and you get RGA 174 pigtail with an SMA on it. It's about 45 centimetres long, so it gives you a bit of error room if you cut it short and you could do it again. I'll be selling spares as well, obviously. So, do you have a question, James?
I was just going to say, also, I suspect it's a bit about positioning within the payload itself. When people build a quarter wave, they add a bit of coax onto it, so it's away from the payload itself, the circuitry itself. And it's usually well positioned in the payload. Stubby sort of invite you to be really close.
Yes.
Or something like that. So there is I think that's a fair thing to say.
I think unless your tracker is designed to run a stubby. I mean, we did like a backup tracker, which is a circular printed circuit board, and the whole bottom's a ground plane, and the stubby sticks directly out the bottom, and it's designed to be mounted like that. That works really well. Yeah, but if you just stick it on like that, because by definition, you're not going to get the only way you're going to be able to mount that vertically. You sort of stick it in your payload down like that, and then it just gets a bit messy, really. So use them at your own risk. Hi.
How close to running out of Sirentel aerial antennas on?
I'm holding some back because they fit the breakout boards I've made.
Yeah.
If you are desperate and need some, just come and have a chat with me. I've got about 40 left, in honesty. I bought quite a lot when they were going bust, but they've gone. They're going through. I've left 5 on the shop officially, but I've got some stock. So if you have designed a printed circuit board and you do need them, but my suggestion is if you do need them, get them soon, because I'm going to use them for once my breakout boards are gone through. I'm not going to have any more left. So, hi.
Just a quick one. Am I correct in that if you've got a Sirentel footprint, you can bang an SMA launch?
You're actually no, not the Sirentel. Which there's 2 Sirentels. About the older one or the newer one?
The older ones.
The older one, no, definitely not. No. What you can do is if you've got an SMA footprint.
Sorry, what's the new one? The new one.
1252R. No, it's not. I'll tell you why. And in fairness, when I originally got the information off Sarantel, I copied the mounting onto which was in my library, and it was wrong. They subsequently re-released it. There's actually a missing ground plane under the actual activity, the antenna bit, the feed, which I have corrected. And I think Matthew, you've got the new version, haven't you? What I've actually been doing is I've been scalpeling the ground plane off my breakout boards, because I did 10 and none of them worked. And I was like, rude word, I've just made 10 boards up and none of them work. You can, if you've got an SMA socket, fit any of these active antennas. They all seem to fit, but you have got to cut the feed down a little bit. Because these I've got a couple of boards here, which demo boards, which actually just use a scalpel to modify. So if you've got an SMA, you can actually stick an active antenna straight directly on the edge like that. Not done this on the Arduino board, because I know somebody's going to stick one of those silly Chinese cameras against one of these things and jam it out. So if anybody's listening, don't use them near a GPS antenna. They will lock your GPS out. GoPros, not so much. But there you go. Any more questions? Okay.